I've been told repeatedly that as a YouTuber who's growing at an okay rate, I should absolutely take the time and effort to expose different parts of my life to like connect with my audience more, so you can learn about me, and some of you guys in the comment section who I recognize can tell me more about you. It's something you get told as a YouTuber frequently, and I guess I'm just gonna not try to like do it tactfully. I'm just gonna say that's what I'm doing here. And let's go over every job I've ever had, because I've had quite a few. Like most kids in my generation, I started working at 16, and my first job was actually working at a smoothie place called Romanczuk. They made mediocre smoothies that often like you just put like little protein or health powder boosts in them, and people told themselves they were healthy. They were not, and it was an okay job. The person who owned the franchise was kind of a jerk. That was like for sure confirmed because of a couple things he did in firing employees who like had to take time off to like see their sick relatives, so I really didn't like him. The most notable like fun thing that happened when I was at Robex was when my mom and her partner came into the store and got smoothies, and as like a prank, I put like extra of our fiber powder in what I thought was my mom's smoothie. Turned out to not be my mom's smoothie, and those of you who know what happens when you get loaded up on fiber, I thought it was really funny. They still don't. But I quit that job pretty quickly after a friend of mine actually got hired there, because the person in the franchise just really ticked me off after they fired a couple people I really liked. And that was the end of my first job. And then I decided to focus on high school until I decided to do door-to-door sales. So I did door-to-door sales twice. I had 2 shifts. The first one was just me driving the guys around and learning, being mentored. What really they were doing was hiring some high school kid who didn't realize what was going on and using him for a free way to drive their salesmen around. And then in my second shift, one of the sales guys like wasn't really there, so they just had me start going up and like trying to sell people. I don't want to say the actual name of the company here because I might be about to say some things that like could make them look really bad. So I'm just gonna call it Fix It. And what basically I had to do was go and knock on people's doors and say like, your house looks like it needs repairs. Would you like us to fix it? Yeah, no one in the one shift I actually worked when I was trying to sell signed up, obviously. And apparently some people did occasionally get signatures. I have no idea how, because that's the hardest pitch to sell ever. And I quit when I quickly realized that we were ending our shift by going into a dangerous part of town. Some things happened and I didn't feel safe doing that job, and it was miserable and horrible. And anyone who has the guts to do door-to-door sales, I respect you immensely, because I do not. Strangers scare me. And after that though, I still did need a regular paying job because I was a senior in high school, and it's kind of important to work and have money to be like a kid and buy things. So that's when I got a job at DSW. I'm sure many of you have shopped there. Let me go ahead and answer the question that the most people asked me after they learned that I worked at DSW. No, I don't have a foot fetish. Feet gross me out. I really hate feet. I think they're disgusting. Sorry, but everyone and their mother, if you work at DSW, is like, you have a thing for feet? No, really no. I think they're really disgusting. A couple notable stories from DSW are when a customer threw a shoe at me to get my attention. I was very angry when that happened. I had a grown man who was like perfectly fine and in shape in like business attire try to get me to tie his shoe for him. He was perfectly healthy. He was just a bad person, I guess. And that was rather obnoxious. Like if someone had health problems, I'd help them no problem. Like that was actually just a part of the job. But this guy was just like, do it for me. And that was annoying. But those were all the jobs I had before college. And then I had one job in between. I had the job I am most ashamed of. I worked at Abercrombie and Fitch as a floor person, and oh man, that really disillusioned me on that store forever, because I kind of liked some of their clothes when I was much younger, but like they just offered me a job and I was like, sure, I'll work there. And basically they tell you your first day, like, you have to flirt with people. People are gonna take pictures of you. You have to do that. And immediately I was like, please no, I hate this. This is terrible. So I worked there for about 4 months. And then I quit because I really hated it, and it was time for like college level jobs. So then I started getting a little bit better. I had a social media internship with a group I'm not gonna name specifically because they're still kind of like up and coming, and I don't wanna like have people from my thing go and like bombard them, but the social media internship was great. Although while I worked there, I also worked at a sushi restaurant called Miso because I needed actual cash while doing an unpaid internship. And working at the sushi restaurant, you think I'd get tired of sushi, but no, I really love sushi. That was probably the best restaurant gig I ever had. I worked at one other Italian restaurant while I was in college, and that was miserable compared to the sushi restaurant. I hated it. Oh man, managers make all the difference. This all leads up to the last non-office professional job I had, the most fun job I ever had, and a job that just made me happy to actually go to work every day, consistently nonstop, and that was working in a distillery in Virginia. It was a small local distillery that made incredibly good bourbon. Yes, bourbon can be made in Virginia. No, it does not have to be made in Kentucky. The amount of times I have to say that, my God. In fact, bourbon was originally made in Virginia, and the town where it was first made in is still in Virginia. Back off, Kentucky. Sorry, I have to say that every time. But I was a mixture of a tour guide, taste tester, ran the gift shop, all kinds of stuff, just helping the distillery go about its day to day. And it was loads of fun. I really, really loved it. My coworkers were wonderful people. We hosted things like weddings all the time, and you got paid pretty well to do that and tipped nicely. And I really actually considered thinking in my head, maybe I should just keep working at this distillery and work my way up the actual somewhat of a ladder that you could there. But I made the smart choice, and I realized hey, let's use my college degree. But I had a degree not in software development, which I currently work in. I had a degree in communications and digital media with a kind of self-made focus in rhetoric. And the job opportunities that were available weren't really fantastic, and a lot of them would be incredibly hard work I wasn't just really interested in, because I went into that major so I could get into public speaking and being in front of a camera and working something that I really loved. Now, I was already running my YouTube channel at this point and really digging that, so I guess you can include YouTube in this segment there. But I started digging into alternate career paths and how I could get started in other industries, and that's when I came across the idea of software development. And I kind of just dabbled in it a little bit, just seeing if I enjoyed it, and big surprise, I actually really liked it. It scratched a creative itch that I had ever since I stopped playing with Legos when I was a little kid. And just technology in general has always fascinated me. So the industry fit like a glove. And lo and behold, after going to a software boot camp, not a 3-month one. Do not go to 3-month software boot camps. You cannot learn enough. It was a 6-month boot camp. Look into those. 3-month ones will not get you there. But after going to a 6-month boot camp, I landed my first job in Huntsville, Alabama as a software engineer. You guys witnessed that move happening. And after a year working in Huntsville, Alabama for a company that was good and there was nothing really wrong with them, I just decided it was time to move again. I'm kind of always antsy, but I wanted to make one last real move before I settled down for a longer period of time. I started looking into a lot of cities and trying to find one that I felt would really fit me well. The one that stood out the most to me was Columbus, Ohio. So I started applying at jobs here, and I also had a couple leads in Detroit, and I turned one down there. I kind of don't want to move to Detroit. No offense to anyone who lives there, it just didn't really suit me for what I was looking for. I got an offer for a company that is doing something I really, really believe in here in Columbus, Ohio. I made that move, and now I am working for a startup in Columbus and enjoying that quite a bit. Yes, YouTube has been a job that's been consistent, honestly, the longest. Oh my God, YouTube has been my consistently longest job. I did not realize that until just now. Job. But that's pretty much the life and works of me going through professional development. If there's one thing you can take away from it, it's that if you want to restart, you can. There will be fun jobs, there will be bad jobs, but it honestly isn't the end of the world to leave a job as long as you know there are other opportunities you can seize. And if you bounce around a little bit, that can actually be a good thing, because it means you try out different things, you learn what you really want, and when you land that company where you really want, where I do think I am right now in terms of at least working here for the last month, it's been great. And I actually want to build up the experience of being here for a long time. So everything's looking a-okay, and I'm excited to see what the future holds. YouTube full-time is not likely for me. I'm a booktuber. We don't grow to the heights and lengths of just having massive audiences on that level, so I'm not wholly expecting this to be a full-time gig anytime in the future, though it's been my longest consistent job, and I don't see it ending anytime soon because I love you guys, and I'm looking forward to talking books in the future. Like and subscribe if you have not already. Hit the Patreon if you want to support what I do here, and have a good one, y'all. Peace.